Good morning to you. I am Trevor Scott, and we have taken the show on the road today. We're road tripping in Llano, Texas. About an hour and a half outside of Austin and located right on the Llano River in the heart of Hill Country. This Lone Star city is known for its western roots and historical flavor. Founded in 1856, Llano in Spanish means plain, a name that's hardly fitting for a vibrant place like this. From dining to shopping, festivals, museums, and more, there is plenty to explore in this Texas town, and all surrounded by natural beauty. Llano is a city of clear blue skies, clean air, and sparkling spring-fed water from the river, where the stars are truly big and bright at night in Llano. Visitors and residents alike enjoy the serene scenery and a relaxed pace in a welcoming community. With a rich history and exciting future, there's something for pretty much everyone here in Llano. This segment is sponsored by Llano Chamber of Commerce.
I'm Briley Mitchell with the Llano Chamber of Commerce. I've been here about 8 years, and right now we're getting ready for our big rodeo. It's the 86th rodeo that we've done. It started in 1919. It's been going strong ever since, and we're also doing a Heritage Day that same weekend. That will be on Saturday, so we'll go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with activities going on the whole weekend. We also have some really cool shopping here in Llano. At Possibilities, they have a lot of vintage and collectible items are fabulous for your house, and just some stuff they've collected for many years. And so they're on East Main. Be sure and go by and see them. Here we have a store called LTX Mercantile. I've really fallen in love with it. They've got great men's products, shirts, they've got t-shirts. They've also got Black Rifle Coffee, which is a favorite of mine, TRAILBLAZER Grill. They have a great salad. The chicken pot pie is to die for, from what I've heard. And they also have one of the best chicken fried steaks anywhere. We also have a historical museum. Great place to go and learn about the history of Llano, the ranching, the schools. And we were as far west as the railroad went, so we shipped about 6 carloads of cattle. You know, we have our river, we have Enchanted Rock, we have state parks, about 7 or 8 of them within 30 minutes drive of here. And besides our rodeo and stuff, in July we'll be having our Rockin' River Fest. We'll have 3 days of fireworks down on the river, some of the best fireworks you'll see anywhere. In the spring, we have 2 really big festivals. Llano Earth Art Fest, it's our rock stacking championship of the world. We have people that come from all countries around the world. In 2021, we did it virtually, and we had every continent in the world represented. Also, we have our Llano River Chuckwagon Cook-Off and our Llano Fiddle Fest in the spring. 2 big festivals. We've got in October, we've got the PBR bull riding that comes to Llano every year. We have Starry Nights out on the Llano River. It begins the day after Thanksgiving, and it goes through New Year's Eve. We have some of the best events in the state of Texas. But another thing you can do in Llano, if you want to, is it's a great place to do nothing. Just to sit on the river, watch it, just get out in a kayak and just float.
How cool is that? And that is just a preview of everything we're going to learn about on today's Road Trippin'. And Briley, I think I'll take you up on your suggestion to just do nothing and enjoy being on the river. But in the meantime, we've got a great show in store. After the break, we've got your invitation to several exciting events that are coming up. Plus, we're learning a little history, and we're stopping in for some shopping and finding the perfect 4 wheels for any adventure. There's more Road Trip in Llano coming up after the break. This segment is sponsored by Llano Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back to Road Trippin' Llano. Before the break, we saw a small snippet of all there is to see and do here in Llano, Texas. So we are going straight to the expert today to help us plan the perfect visit, and that is Chamber of Commerce Director Briley Mitchell. And he's here with what you need to know about this wonderful town. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Trevor. How are you doing?
I am very happy. I'm always in a good mood when I'm road tripping, especially to a beautiful spot like Llano. This is a great town with lots to see and lots to do.
Lots to do all the time around around here.
Yeah,
Never stops.
Never stops. So year-round fun, but we have a few things that are really fun to highlight. Tell me a little bit about the rodeo and the parade and what's coming up.
We'll have our rodeo parade on June 3rd at 4 o'clock. And so far, we have got some big entries into it.
Nice.
We've got the cavalry from San Angelo is coming. I think they're going to have about 20 people in their portion of it. We've got the Texas Spirit Riders. They're out of Winsboro, Texas, and they'll be coming in doing they'll be doing trick riding during the rodeo, but also a tribute to our military, all branches of the military. They're very, very good, and they'll be in the parade. We've got the Shriners coming from West Texas and New Mexico, Hobbs, that area. So we'll have a lot coming.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a big event, a lot of fun for the family.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Heritage Day, what that is and when it's taking place.
All right, our rodeo will be going June 3rd and 4th, Friday and Saturday. And Heritage Day will be all day Saturday. We'll have the cavalry there. We've got some Buffalo Soldiers. Fort Martin Scott from Fredericksburg will be coming, and then we got some folks from Burnett coming, and we'll have games for the kids. We'll kind of wrap it up with a man coming from, I believe he's from Kerrville. He'll be doing a talk about Texas, the history of Texas in 90 minutes. I think it's 6,000 words in 90 minutes, something like that.
Oh, very cool.
And,
that's a lot of history.
Yeah, a lot of history. It's going to be really fun and entertaining. And then we'll go right into the rodeo that night, and we'll have our rodeo queens and all of that day.
What a fun event.
Will be a very fun weekend.
So much going on. And, you know, of course, in Llano, the river really is a highlight and the star. Tell me about Rockin' River Fest.
Okay, Rockin' River Fest started off, I think about 7 or 8 years ago with the Rockin' River Fest jet ski races. And it has just grown over the years. They have well over 100 jet skiers. And it's now a sanctioned event. We have professionals. There's also an amateur class as well. And then this year they're going to have a Ferris wheel out at the park, so that will be fun. And kind of get a little bird's eye view of the river from there.
Yeah, what a great sight that
is. But the jet ski races has just really grown over the years, and it's 2 full days of jet ski racing.
That is going to be very cool. And fireworks for the kids at night?
We'll have 3 days. Yes, 3 days of fireworks. Yeah, one big one right here. We'll have fireworks on Saturday and Sunday, and then July 4th on Monday. Rockin' River Fest will just be for the weekend, and then we'll do the fireworks again on July 4th.
Wow. Well, Riley, this is definitely a dynamic town. There's so much to do all year long, but it sounds like you all need to make a trip to Llano soon. There's so much to do here. Thanks for giving us a tour of the event schedule.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me talk to you a while.
Well, it's our pleasure.
All righty. Thank you.
This segment is sponsored by Llano County Historical Museum. Welcome back to Road Trippin' Llano. Founded more than 165 years ago, this hill country town has a unique history and heritage, and the Llano County Historical Museum is dedicated to keeping the archives alive. Even the museum building itself has a fascinating story. Check it out.
The Brules had the drugstore, and when they decided to go out of business, they decided that Llano needed a museum. And so they were kind enough to give us the museum. You find a lot of the history of Llano County, and we've got, because we are known for our rocks and minerals, we have a great collection in our rock room, arrowheads and other kind of rocks that are found in Llano. Then we have a military display, have many uniforms because there are many of the men that served in the wars that lived here in Llano. Things that people have donated to the museum, given us to show some of the primitive history as well as just the history in general of Llano. And the people go out the back door back here. You've got a beautiful view of the river, the water coming over the dam. And it's a beautiful place to be. We tell a lot of the stories about, like local things now are like Fiddle Fests and things like that. We've got a big display here on the Fiddle Fest that we have yearly, and it's always the first weekend in April. So we've just got much history.
The judge and the mayor declared the month of May as Family History Month here in Llano County. And people brought in their books, their stories. We've done a lot of interviews because they're not going to write it down. And we don't want that heritage gone. People want to know their heritage. They want to know where they got their eyes from, or what kind of person was great Uncle Charlie. What we're doing and why it's so important is they bring the information in to us, we digitize it, give them the original back. We have it on our databases. They have it on a little thumb drive, plus the original.
We are open Wednesday through Saturday from 10 to 4. Outside of those hours, we can also make arrangements for people to see the museum. We think we have a great place to explore the history of Llano County. We would love to see you come in and see the history of the museum that we have preserved.
It's so interesting. As you can see, the Llano County Historical Museum is committed to preserving the past for future generations, and I think that's so important to come. Joanne McDougall is here, Secretary for the museum, with more about that. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm a bit of a history buff, and I do love to seek out a place's history when I'm visiting, especially because it helps you enjoy the present so much more, right?
Right.
I think that's pretty cool. Tell us a little bit about some of the contents that you have in the museum.
Okay, we've got a covered wagon,
Oh,
for
nice.
one thing. It was used out on a ranch, and it was bought from Buttery Hardware, which is still a local business.
Yeah, still in business.
Who's been in business for over 100 years here.
That's incredible.
So that's one of our features. We have a display on Cecil Smith, who was a well-known polo player. And he grew up in Llano and trained polo ponies around, and he got to be a very famous polo player.
Wow.
So there's a big polo display over there. And then we had several typewriters. We have the man that invented the electric typewriter, Mr. Smathers, lived here in Valley Spring, which is a little community outside of Llano. He spent many years trying to talk someone into the electric typewriter. They said, oh, it couldn't be done. It was a forerunner of IBM.
Right, yeah.
That took it on and finally did go with the electric typewriter.
How about
And then we have a lot of military display, uniforms and lots of memorabilia that people have given us that were in the military.
Wow.
So quite an extensive. And then we just tell the story of Llano over there. Some about the ranchers and some about the cattle drivers and the drovers that worked the cattle with the cattle and brought them into the railroad while we had the railroad going with the cattle. And so there's some displays on that.
Wow.
And then it was an old drugstore,
Oh,
so
okay.
we still have the soda fountain over there.
How fun is that?
Kids always come in and say, I'd like to work your soda fountain for you.
That is neat. A real great variety of history. Telling the story of Llano, I like the way that you put that. And I know on the property there's also a really cool structure. There's a log cabin. Tell me about that history. What's that?
The log cabin was something we sort of fell into because they were going to tear this log cabin down. And it was just a little old house over there on some property that Buttery was going to clear off for more warehouse space. And they started tearing it down and realized once they got some of the siding off that it really was logs under there in an old log cabin.
Hidden, yeah.
So yes, and so this was probably in the 1870s when it was built. So they came over and talked with us and said, we think you might be interested in moving it. And so we did. We broke down on the bridge, bringing it over, and they had to get a grader and a forklift from Buttery's to finally get it off the bridge, and they brought it over.
And a great piece of history that I'm sure people love to see.
Yeah.
Another thing that you're doing there at the museum, which I think is really important, is digitizing some of your photos and taking the past and making sure that it's brought into the present and preserved for forever.
Right, and in so doing, we have people that are coming in and telling us the history of Llano County.
Wow.
And so I've interviewed several people. I'm still in the process of interviewing one of them because he still has more stuff to tell me, more history. And they bring in pictures, and we digitize their family pictures, and then we put it on a little thumb drive for them to have for their family too. But it's a great thing that she's doing. She has digitized everything that we have on the walls over there and in the museum. And we've also digitized the jail log, different things.
Fascinating,
Yeah, different things that are historical documents. So it's been a really good thing.
I'm sure you have
Llano.
learned a lot. Yeah,
We have.
Really important for Llano.
And it's important for us to preserve the history from we'll call them old timers, that lived here and have had family here since the 1850s. And so it's really interesting.
Yeah, and important because they carry a history internally that nobody else has.
Right. And we think this is good for their families too to have later on.
Absolutely.
By giving them the little thumb drive. So it's a great thing.
Well, Joanne, that is really neat. I'm a big fan of the work you're doing there at the museum. How special. Thanks for preserving Llano's great history for future residents, because I'm sure Llano's going to keep creating a lot of good history.
Oh, I think we will.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
This segment is sponsored by LTX Mercantile. Welcome back to Road Trippin' Llano, outdoor-inspired men's apparel and accessories for the hardworking, free-spirited, and rebellious. LTX Mercantile is known for their rugged yet refined gear for your everyday adventures or something a little more extreme, plus a carefully curated selection of local Llano merch and gifts. Check it out.
My name's Chad, and I'm the owner of the LTX Mercantile in Llano, Texas. So I've been interested in spending time outdoors my entire life. I probably didn't get experience in it until later in life compared to most people. My first experiences probably started in college. I went to school in upstate Pennsylvania, and we spent a lot of time on the water, in the woods, and just exploring. And that was a whole new world that I hadn't been exposed to prior. From that point on, was kind of obsessed with. When we moved to Llano, Leslie knew it was always my dream to open a small store. And when the opportunity arose, she called me over and said, "Hey, Chad." I was like, "What's up?" And she's like, "Guess what? I got us a store." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "All right, well, I guess we got to figure out what to put in it then." My graphic design and experience with printing on promotional items was kind of the idea behind it. And then it evolved quickly into, what are we going to put in the store that people like, or what's going to sell? And I wanted to put a store in that had those items that, you know, you only come across once or twice, or they're all rare finds. And I wanted to make that store for men where they would come in here and be like, "Oh my God, I just walked into heaven. Everything that I could picture having on our trip is in here." I've been very specific in the things I've chosen, and I really love what I'm doing, not having experience in retail before. And when people come in and you see their eyes light up or they walk around, it really makes you feel good when they say like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, I love this place. We have a lot of local Texas merch, Texas Hill Country Provisions, Two Dove Outdoors, Duck Camp, and a lot of others. We look forward to expanding and rounding out the amount of products we carry, and building a really cool atmosphere that people will travel into town to be a part of. Everything that you've seen in store, we carry online. Our website is www.ltxmercantile.com. Next time you're in Llano, stop on in for a cool experience.
Well, as you can see, there is something unique, thoughtfully chosen, and local in every corner of LTX Mercantile. Owner Chad Pahalski is here today to share more about one of the newest and coolest stores, I imagine, in Llano. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you too, Trevor.
I truly respond to your style and aesthetic. This shop seems like it really is thoughtful, I think is the word that I'd like to use, right?
Yeah, I'd say we carry well-rounded outdoor-inspired men's apparel and accessories, and it's for the everyday modern man, and I like to focus on sustainability and think that you should buy once, find items that are going to last you a long time.
I think that's important too. I have noticed something especially when you travel, and especially when you go to find a more of a small town experience, perhaps in Hill Country. There's a lot of shopping for the ladies, and there is never as much for us. And I think that is cool. Is that a need that you feel like you saw?
Yes, for sure. When I moved here about 2 years ago and went out to shop, I was like, oh man, there's no place to go.
Yeah.
There are a few really great stores in town that I did enjoy, but I thought we could just, add to it and help.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool is your background really, I feel like probably inspires a lot of what you're doing, and that of course is in printmaking and in graphic design, and that probably offers something great to the customer as well.
Yeah, for the last 15 years I've been to a screen printing, embroidery, and promotional product company, which was kind of the concept behind the store. We wanted some known products to get people in, some products that we've used throughout our travels that we've really enjoyed. And then throughout that, we have people in the store come up with a lot of neat local Llano merch.
Llano merch, I love that. Yeah, and especially in this area in Hill Country, there probably is a lot of inspiration. And if you can't find it, you can maybe make it. I understand that you're going to really offer an opportunity for customers to kind of make their own or print their own designs.
Yeah, so we'll offer some small batch printing for local projects, potentially some custom hats. We also have a few ideas in the works. We're expanding to another side.
And I understand you have a few ideas up your sleeve. Maybe some will be a surprise, maybe some won't, to really kind of incorporate the community.
Yeah, we have a few top secret projects going on right now that I think everyone's going to really enjoy. In a few months, we'll have some surprises.
They keep an eye out for sure, especially if it involves maybe a happy hour or two. I think that's a good one.
Yes, sir.
That is really fun. And working with other brands, I think is another thing that's really important to you to kind of make sure that there's a collaboration happening with your spot, right?
Yes, for sure. We love to support local. We carry a lot of local brands, a lot of Hill Country brands, Texas brands.
Well, it's been awesome learning a little bit more about your shop. I definitely have to get in there. It sounds right up my alley. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
This segment is sponsored by TRAILBLAZER Grill.
There's more road tripping from Llano coming up, but first we're taking a quick lunch break at TRAILBLAZER Grill, where they're cooking up your cravings. When you're in Llano, be sure to stop in for some great home-style cooking, from their Texas nachos to their southern fried sandwich, chicken pot pie, ribeye, and peach cobbler. Are you hungry yet? We'll check out the menu, and we'll be right back after this quick break.
This segment is sponsored by Granite Hills Chevrolet Buick.
Welcome back to Road Trippin Llano. From rodeos to road trips and everything in between, you're going to need the perfect ride for all your adventures. It's time to take a test drive with the team at Granite Hills Chevrolet Buick.
Hello, I'm Kirk Whitehead and this is Bruce Evans, and we own Granite Hills Chevrolet Buick in Llano, Texas.
Whether you are camping, fishing, rodeoing, or ranching, the sturdy 2022 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 HD High Country from Granite Hills Chevrolet Buick is perfect for hauling just about everything. The Chevrolet Silverado High Country is an outstanding design truck with features such as a backup camera, Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, keyless entry, and much more. Schedule a test drive with them and you can see for yourself this is the perfect truck for you. Check out the all-new 2022 Buick Envision. Perfect for taking the whole family on a road trip, sporting events, or just taking a Sunday drive. The Buick Envision gets great gas mileage while offering features such as a backup camera, Apple CarPlay, adaptive cruise control, navigation system, Bluetooth, and much more. Granite Hills Chevrolet Buick believes maintaining your vehicle in excellent condition is essential. That's why they offer top-notch service and labor rates are only $99 per hour. Enjoy their waiting room while your vehicle is being worked on or just drop it off. They offer multi-point vehicle inspections, oil changes, new tires, brake service, and more. And when you're ready, just schedule online or give them a call. At Granite Hills Chevrolet Buick, you'll find that doing business with them is easy. They're not into gimmicks, playing games, or hassles. For your next vehicle or service needs, shop Granite Hills Chevrolet Buick. Save big dough in Llano.
Start your next road trip at Granite Hills Chevrolet Buick in Llano, where you'll always save big bucks on cars and trucks.
Well, there's certainly no question that Granite Hills Chevrolet Buick has a solid selection and they're really committed to their customers. I'm joined today by owners Kirk Whitehead and Bruce Evans to walk us through the car and truck buying experience and to learn a little bit more about you. Good morning to you. Thanks for being here.
Hey, great to have you out in Llano.
Well, we are glad to be here. You know, I always think about this when you're driving around and you see dealerships. It really is one of the most important purchases you're going to make in your whole life. It's an investment, right?
It is. And you know, Bruce and I both believe that it shouldn't be like going to the dentist when you go buy a car. You shouldn't have to get a shot of Novocaine to buy a car. So we make it a real easy process. Everybody that buys from us, one thing we hear back is this is the easiest experience that I've ever had buying a car, and that's what we want. It should be something you enjoy, not something you hate going to do. And we make it an easy experience and an enjoyable experience for our customers.
You're absolutely right. It really should be fun. You're getting a new car, new wheels, or a new brand new truck.
Right.
That is an exciting time, and it should be pretty painless. And I hear you guys really do a pretty good job of making that pretty painless. Bruce, is that the case?
Yes, we don't like to play games, and I don't think anybody else does either. So we just kind of get to the point, and like Kirk says, make it an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, and then from that point, of course, it is an investment, so you're buying the car. You want to make sure that you're taking really good care of it. And I think one of the best things about dealerships is top-notch service, and that's something that you guys offer as well.
That's the key to it. We've got a GM certified technicians that have a lot of experience. We may be one of the few Chevrolet dealerships anywhere around that has a labor rate that's still under $100 an hour. We're at $99 an hour. You know, you get quality work, the same type of work you're going to get anywhere else at a little bit cheaper price, and we just think that it's a great value for our customers, and our guys back there in the shop do a great job.
That's great. Well, I mean, I know you definitely want your car to be running as long as possible, even though it's also great to come back and buy a new car from you
That's
guys
right.
too.
That's what we want customers for life, not for the next 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So, you know, we try to create that in everything that we do at the dealership. This is something we want to create a long-term relationship with our customers, and I think our people do a really good job of doing that.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's a great segue too, because you know you are a member of this community. Bruce, how important is it for you to actually just be not just the local car dealership, but to be members of the community and invest in the community?
Yeah, well, you just have to be active in the community and get behind the schools and the stock shows and, you know, whatever else we can do good in the community.
Yeah, and it really creates kind of a buzz, and maybe people who haven't bought a car from you or don't know about you might see at the football game or at a stock show. And how important is that for you?
Well, I think it's really important. Llano, we've been here for 2 years, and Llano's been really, really good to us. And you know, one of the things that we talked about when we came here is we're always going to be good to Llano. And I think it goes both ways, but it's a great community, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Well, they are lucky to have you, and I'm sure you're lucky to have them as well. Thank you both for being here today and for welcoming us to Llano. It's been a great road trip so far, and I know we've got a lot more to learn, but it's been great to get to know you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to have you.
Thanks.
This segment is sponsored by Possibilities Resale and Design.
Welcome back to Road Trippin Llano. Located in the heart of downtown, right off the main square, this vintage and antique store is a trove of treasures. If you're looking for something to complement your own style, discover something new, or find one-of-a-kind conversation starters, well, the possibilities are endless.
I'm Laura Alman here at Possibilities in Llano. We're very close to the square. In fact, I can almost see the courthouse from here. Thanks for coming, and let me show you around. My sister and I started Possibilities in 2019 after we both had retired from teaching. My mother traveled the world. She went out to all 7 continents. We learned a lot of different techniques of art and treasures from around the world from her. And I could tell 100 stories about my mother, but we actually have her cremains in a zebra up here on the shelf. And several people have wanted to buy the zebra. I'm like, no, that's not for sale, I'm sorry. But then when my sister passed last year, we actually put her cremains in a vintage McCoy cookie jar that's a Raggedy Ann. Because I'm an educator, I like for people to know there's a difference between antiques and vintage. Ideally, if you're an antique store, you should have items that are 100 years old or more. When you go shopping for vintage items, those items are 20 to 100 years old. We like to have everything together by group or category rather than divided up by vendor. Hey, this is our Texas section here in Possibilities. We do things a little bit differently here. And I wanted to highlight one of the things, we love history. Like I said, I'm a teacher. So here's actually a brand from Llano County. The Lone Star, of course, shows up everywhere. We change out our windows very frequently. Right now we have flowers. And then we have a wedding section over here. Of course, there's always flowers with weddings. This is our men's section. Look at this amazing historical atlas of the United States. We also have belt buckles. If you've got a Harley-Davidson fan in your life, you might be able to find a gift here for them. One of the things that I find interesting from the mid-century, you know, cigarettes and ashtrays were a big deal. The art behind some of this was really fascinating. This is our Fiesta Ware section. When I first owned the shop, I knew about Fiesta Ware, but I had no idea how much was involved with it. People that collect Fiesta Ware know. They know their vintage. I always joke that Fiesta Ware has 37 names for yellow. We have a lot of local artists here. We have jewelers, we have sculpturists, we have painters. We love to support them. This lady right here, she takes old jewelry and upcycles them into new earrings, which is really neat. Jackie, she does fused glass in her necklaces. She does a lot of neat new modern types of things that some of the younger girls like, and so I really like Tiffany's stuff too. We have some really neat game tables here, and they're things that I had not seen before I had this store. One of them is a flip top. Another aspect that's really kind of fun is that we have our Llano living room here, and we have a few friends here right now, but we call them our regulars. I'd love to invite everybody to come in and see Possibilities and see what we have to share.
Now that is really interesting. I actually did not know the difference between vintage and antique until we watched this special. That is really, really cool.
It does make a difference to a lot of
It truly does. And now you all know at home, with new inventory added every single day, there really is always something new, or should I say something vintage, to discover at Possibilities. Owner Laura Almond is here today to share more stories about this really unique place full of unique items. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
This is really special. I do love, anytime I go out of town or maybe go on a road trip or go on vacation, I love to find a place that has a lot of local vintage or antiques, and that's a fun place to go.
It is.
That's what you're all about there, right?
Yes, yes it is. We love to have people come in. We actually have a Tesla charging station right next to our building.
A little old and new?
Yeah, a little old and new. So they come in and it's fun to have that happen, plus all of our locals.
Yeah, and nostalgia is a big part of
Yes.
what you do. And I know we were chatting, and you'll talk about maybe somebody's perusing your items and they see something that maybe a loved one used to have. Or, oh,
Yes.
I remember that from Grandma's house. And that's something really special.
Yes, it is. I even want to get a t-shirt that says, if Grandma had it, Possibilities are, we do too. I haven't done that yet, but
I like the way you
Yes,
think.
yes, yeah. You have to be creative.
And one of the most important things, and I know this, we've got a good friend who loves to go out and find vintage items and go antiquing and all that good stuff. But I know what's important to them is that if they're going to go to a place over and over again, that there's new inventory, and that's something you take very seriously.
Yes, every day. In fact, before I came here, I was putting tags on little Hummel figurines, brand new, out today, and apparently they're up and coming again. So.
Is that so?
Yeah, yeah. You never know. You got to watch the market. It's hard to to know what's going to be next, but I try to keep on top of that.
That's great. So I think
Yeah.
people know, even if they've been to your store before, they know they can come again and find something brand new.
Yes, in fact, we've just recently redone our windows. We've got summer going on in the windows, and it's a fun, we actually have a canoe.
Oh,
in the
very
window.
cool. I love that.
17-foot canoe. So,
Keeping up with the seasons in
Yes.
very cool ways.
Yes.
And I know another great thing about you is that you're really kind of dedicated to the Llano community, and you've really displayed that by helping revive some spaces.
Yes, this is our second space. The spaces I've been in with the business were basically used for storage. Oh, wow. And so now we've turned them into financially producing areas.
Yeah,
So,
viable places downtown to really kind of help bring people back into the core of the city, right?
We love the East Main now. You almost can't find a parking spot some days, but that's okay. There's parking down the street a little.
That is a good problem
Yes,
to have.
it is,
Well,
yes.
I'm a big fan of vintage items. Is this something that you've always been interested in? What inspires you about selling this nostalgia?
So a lot of the things in the store were actually my grandmother's or my mom's. Mom passed away in 2020. I miss her. We've got a lot of things I'll be able to tell her, oh, that was my grandmother's, and it's fun. And she liked the fancy stuff. And I learned a lot from her as far as quality and things like that. That was important to her.
It's nice to have a special connection
It
to
is,
things.
it is.
I think,
But a lot of the things that she had weren't really mine, my style,
I
so I
see.
like to see them go to someone who loves them.
somebody with her style is
Yes,
out there for
yes.
sure. And I know I told you this, any store that's got to have an entire section just for Fiesta wear is right up my
Yes,
alley.
yes.
I
We love our
it.
Fiesta wear.
Well, we are so glad that you joined us. Thanks for having us out to Llano today. We can't wait to
Well, thank you
explore
so
the
much.
possibilities.
Yes,
Have
come see us.
possibilities. Thank
Check
you.
it out. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today for our road trip to Llano. As you can see, there is so much to experience in the heart of Hill Country. While it's a great idea to get away any time of the year, be sure to come out for the Llano Open Pro Rodeo this weekend, June 3rd and 4th. For now, here's a look back at some of the places we visited so you can plan your own road trip to Llano. Well, that'll do it from Llano, Texas. We're so glad you joined us today. If you missed any of the show, head to cbsaustin.com and click on the We Are Austin tab right at the top of the page, and you can watch our full Road Trippin' Llano show. And be sure to follow us on social media as well. It's a great place to connect with everyone you saw on the show. That's a wrap from Llano. Until next time, we'll see ya.